Columbus City Council meeting for June 2nd, 2025 will now come to order. In compliance with the Open Meeting Act, a current act of this is hanging in the wall in this meeting room. Madam, Assistant. Vanessa, please call roll.
Bulkley.
Here.
Alarcon.
Here.
Barr.
Here.
Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski.
Here.
Lopez. Polensky.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Mr. Council President.
Thank you. Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other as well as to all our citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight over ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. I welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. If at any time during our meeting this evening anyone has comments that they would like to direct toward the council, we'd ask that you please come forward. We ask that you give your name, your address, and that we'd keep any comments to 5 minutes or less. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Item number 4, consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a City Council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. 4A, minutes of the May 19th, 2025 City Council meeting. Item 4B, Title 3B, Supportive Services, Title 3C, Nutrition, and Title 3E, Family Caregiver Support, grant funding from Northeast Nebraska Area Agency on Aging for Senior Center. 4C, Resolution Number R25-80, approving agreement with Geocom, Inc. in the amount of $35,892.94 for GIS maintenance services for Joint Communications Center. 4D, Resolution Number R25-81, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. And 4E, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and Council, is there anything you would like removed from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to reports of council committees.
10A, Public Property Safety and Works Committee of June 2nd, 2025. 10A1, request of Jason Melock on behalf of Westwood Edition LLC to extend the time period for completion of public improvements for Riverside 3rd Edition from October 18th, 2025 to October 18th of 2027, located at the end of 17th Street west of 49th Avenue. The committee recommends approval.
Mr. Mayor, move committee report be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this committee report. Any discussion? Seeing none, you want to discuss here or when it comes up?
Well, I can discuss when it comes up.
Pardon?
We can wait.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to new business.
13A, quote from Sirius Computer Solutions LLC in the amount of $12,037.97 for renewal of hardware maintenance for city network.
Mr.
Move the
Mayor,
quote of Sirius Computer be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the quote from Sirius Computer Solutions. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
13B, plan, specification, estimate of costs in the amount of $70,000 and authorization to advertise for bids for ADA sidewalk improvements 2025. Plans and specs are on file in the engineering department, and this is CIP number 20-75 and 70.
Mr. Mayor, I move the plans and specification, estimate of cost and authorization to advertise for bids for ADA sidewalk improvements 2025 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to comments from the mayor and city council members.
13C, comments from the mayor and city council members. In compliance with the Open Meetings Act, no discussion may be held on this item.
Any council member comments this evening? Mr. Jablonski.
I just have one. I had a citizen, after the last big windstorm, complimented our street department on how quickly they took care of a tree that was in front of their property, and they wanted me to let that staff know they did a great job. So we don't always hear the good ones, but that one we need to pass on, and thank you for that work.
Any other comments? I have a couple this evening. I wanted to remind everyone that you have your ballots at home for the proposed renewal of our 1% local option sales tax and the economic development. So please do your citizenry, your right to vote, and take advantage of that. I also wanted to put a shout out to the Parks and Rec Department for beginning our summer in a great way. The Plunge opened this weekend and had a great crowd. And I don't know who all here might have been downtown Saturday night, but Beats and Eats started with what a wonderful evening for weather and a good turnout for that. So summer is underway. And finally, a lot of people have been asking for a couple of years, and finally gonna happen. The traffic signals at 48th and the Parkway will start flashing this week. Is that correct, Mr. Bogus? And will go into permanent effect in about a week or so, with lots of warning and signage to tell our citizens that it's going to happen. So glad to see that that's come about. And it's just one of those things that takes time. You know, we approved those almost 2 years ago, but it takes that much time to get everything together, get the materials, and get her done. So anyway, that's all I had. Yes, sir.
You want to make an announcement about our councilwoman?
Oh, you could go right ahead if you'd like, Brent. I mean,
Well, I don't know all the details.
Well,
and
well,
but I understand that it is the first council baby that
in our history.
It
Maybe not case, but I think
It probably is. It probably, for those of you who don't know, we're missing a seat. Kat is not here this evening because she had a baby boy about a week ago. Everybody is doing well, and we will expect to see her back with us in about 4 or 5 weeks, I believe, is kind of the plan. So, well, we wish her well. Thank you, Brent. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, we will move on to, what are we moving on to? Resolutions.
All right, 14A, resolution number R25-82, approving purchase agreement with Nebraska Department of Transportation in the amount of $950,000 for property located at 3303 12th Street for multi-department use.
Mr. Mayor, move for the adoption of resolution
Number R25-82.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R25-82. Any discussion?
Just have a question.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a little premature, but will they be paving that road that goes in there? It's gravel currently.
Rick, maybe you have a comment on that? I guess, I don't think it's been part of the discussion up front.
No, it hasn't been part of the discussion up front, but certainly, obviously, there'll be more equipment there, something that we will look into in the future, but we haven't really made any decisions on that yet.
I'm sure it'll beat up that gravel road pretty good.
It's probably pretty hardened anyway. I mean, the state did work in and out of that,
Okay.
and so it's probably pretty decent shape, actually.
I know one of the
Oh,
neighbors
but-
is going to ask me
Oh,
next time
okay.
he sees me, I'm sure.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
14B, resolution number R25-83, approving easement agreement with Regina McDuffie, doing business as Regina's Kitchen, to allow outdoor seating on city right-of-way.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of resolution number R25-83.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution number R25-83. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
14C, resolution number R25-84, awarding contract to Obrus and Company in the amount of $35,760 for 7th Avenue and 2nd Street sewer improvements, reallocated CIP number 21-81.
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number R25-84 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution number R25-84. Any discussion?
So we're assuming this was not part of the original budget item and we moved money from somewhere else because it was in need?
Yeah, correct. So it was not in the original budget, but when we took that item, that CIP item, and broke it up into a couple different things. This is one of the needs that the Public Works needed, and so this is one of the projects that we presented at that time.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
14D, resolution number R25-85, accepting and approving offer and settlement statements for acquisition of real property located at 4015 South 9th Street from PR Properties LLC and 3825 South 9th Street from Island Supply Welding Company in the total amount of $409,628.89 plus closing costs in conjunction with the Federal Emergency Management Agency buyout program. CIP number 21-89.
Mr. Mayor, I move resolution number R2585 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution number R25-85. Any discussion?
Can we have an explanation? I know
Yeah,
it's-
Rick, do you want to highlight? Because this is a great example of things that take time to happen because this relates back to our flood of 2019.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that if you thought the signals took long. But this is based on the March 2019 flood event, and I think it took about at least a year, maybe longer. that the government, FEMA, came out with a program, a buyout program for high flood-prone area properties. And there were actually I don't know the exact number, but there was at least a handful or more that were eligible. And what that means is, what they don't want is these high flood-prone areas to keep flooding and having, these, potential loss of, property and things of that nature, high in insurance, things like that FEMA would have to come in and spend some money on. So the program would allow, depending on where you're at, the program would allow, in this case, the city, but there are also, Platte County had some options too, and I think the Lower Loop NRD had some options to purchase some property as well. It's purely voluntary from those people. So they had some properties that got destroyed, and like I said, it was voluntary, but they went ahead and proceeded with the program. They did the appraisal, and then they decided to sell this property through that program through the city. There's 2 properties here that they decided to sell. And so what it does is it takes that, off the critical list. What happens there is it has to remain open by definition, so, it's nothing that can be built on now. It'd have to be kind of an open property, so what's there will be taken down, of course, if there were any structures there, to be taken down, and then it has to kind of remain open property in perpetuity.
Whose cost is that to take the property down?
So FEMA's paying 75% of the program, and 25% is being paid by Community Development Block Grant. But once it's owned, it's as is. So in this case, the city, because it's as is purchased property.
So we're the owners
We're the owners.
and basically can't do anything with it.
Well, there's things you can do with it. It's
It
just
can be
needs to
green
be
space.
open in concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. No permanent structures, correct.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
All right, any other comments?
Have any plans come forth as to possible use?
I know there's been some discussions internally, but nothing's really been decided at this point.
All right, any other comments? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes. Brings us up to ordinances on our second reading. This is the second reading of ordinance number 25-08. There will be no vote this evening, but we are open for general discussion from the public. Before we start, I'll remind everyone we will be cordial tonight. Everyone will be welcome to have their comments given and have discussion with the council. I'll remind council also to be cordial. This is the process we have. We are here to hear what you have to say and any feedback we can give or you can give us. We do have the 5-minute rule, and we will enforce it today. We have a full house. At the same time, if we get to a point where most of the comments are pretty redundant and pretty much the same, we'll probably ask for a reading of hands and try to move on from there. But let's start with comments, and we'll begin with those in favor of the ordinance as it reads. And do you want to read the ordinance that is proposed, please?
Item 16A, ordinance number 25-08, amend City Code sections 13303 through 13305 regarding firework discharge dates and times, sale dates, and to update the required signage at all sale locations to coincide with these changes.
All right.
And you might want to add when it goes into effect.
This would go into effect in August to be basically effective for next 4th of July season. With that, let's start with those who are in favor of this ordinance. We'd ask that you'd come forward and again, give your name, your address, and tell us what you think, please.
Hi, I'm Deb Potter, 2866 Fairlane Avenue, Columbus. And before I begin, I wanted to make sure it's okay. I have a message that was sent to me by someone who could not be in attendance tonight, Dr. Ann Kramer, who's a veterinarian here in Columbus. She's been a veterinarian for 42 years. And I believe she said she did talk to you, Ron, regarding this, but she is in Florida now, so am I allowed to go ahead and read what she has sent me?
You're welcome to.
Okay, she said, In my 42 years as a veterinarian, I have witnessed and treated many, many injured animals associated with fireworks accidents and sadly even some deaths. My own dogs are terrified by fireworks and they have to be medicated for anxiety during the days the fireworks are being discharged. I've also had many discussions with veterans as well as parents of autistic children who suffer greatly during that time for the obvious reasons. Please voice my opinion since I will be out of town and unable to attend. She did say she would be able to attend the third reading if necessary. So I wanted to state that part first. In the first meeting when we gave our discussion on this, the majority of my feelings were related on the animal end of things. I did go back and look at our shelter statistics, and last year in 2024, our two busiest months of loose animals picked up by police and/or animal controllers, citizens brought in, were the months of June and July. And that's been consistent through the 16 years we've been open. Also, I looked back, and the highest number of dogs that we ever had come in 1 month was 54, and that was also the month of June several years ago. So that's one area that I believe a lot of people have concerns about. I know there are things that can be done, medications, so on and so forth. But again, for this, we're just asking for 3 days less. We're not asking to take it away. We're not asking to do away with any more than 3 days of it. You know, Lincoln, Omaha, they have 1 or 2 days. We're not even requesting anything like that. I like fireworks myself. It's just some of the noise elements and some of the, as you guys said last time, the unenforceable parts of it. When, you know, if people are shooting in the street, which is not supposed to be allowed, if they're not cleaning up in the street, which is litter, a lot of that's unenforceable. But I think times since I was a kid, or a lot of you were kids, have changed, and I think people are just not as compliant with following rules. So hate to punish people, but again, it's only 3 days. It's not taking everything away. So that's pretty much what I've got to say. Any questions or?
I am Dorothy Bybee. My address is 3272 33rd Avenue here in Columbus. And I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you. I appreciate the work that you do. I spoke last time about 2 different issues. One is the people issue. Being a nurse, having an extra 3 days, having everything go off is really difficult when you have to get up at 5. Then there's the issue of the animals, which is significant. I have 2 dogs that have to go in the house. They're just crazy animals when you have those kinds of noise and constant barrage of noise that's so loud that shakes the windows. It's difficult. And I can appreciate when people's income and revenue is associated with that. I would suspect that a lot of that 3 days lost will go on to those 7 days and go up, with maybe even a decrease in overhead because of those 3 days not being used. The other thing, I'm just coming off of a 4,000 trip, 2 weeks around the country. So I'm a little scattered because I just got home. But I want to tell you, it's not always about the money. I come home to Columbus, and I've been here 7 years, and I'm proud to be part of this community. It is a community that cares about each other. We have a culture. And so when we look at ordinance like this, we are really looking at much more than just the money associated with it. We're really looking at the culture and the environment of our community. And I have to tell you, I'm very proud to be here. Yeah, it's great to come home, I get that. But we went to a lot of places and saw a lot of big towns, little towns, big cities, lots of traffic, no traffic, And we got stuck out on that road out there today coming home, and we're like, what is going on? But I appreciate living here. I appreciate all that we do as a community. And so I would just urge that we continue to support this ordinance. And once again, thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
Good evening. Brad Wangler, 2927 33rd Street, Columbus, Nebraska. I'd like to thank the committee for bringing this forward. I find this ordinance to be very balanced, to get both sides of the city of Columbus, those for and those against. I spent a career of always compromising and finding the balance. One of the things I did learn in my career was that city government runs a lot on comparability. So I dug out the numbers of comparability. Out of our comparable cities, Norfolk, Kearney, North Platte, Hastings, and Fremont, Norfolk is the only one that has 10 days of fireworks. Kearney, North Platte, and Hastings are 7. Fremont is 8, and Beatrice is 6. If I expand that array to Grand Island, they're 7. Ogallala is 5. Scotts Bluff is 10. And Sioux City is very unique at 3. Now they can discharge or they can sell fireworks over a larger period of time, but they are only allowed to discharge them for 3 days inside the city itself. So when we look at the current ordinance as it's currently read or written in the new standing, I find ourselves to be very comparable. I'm also appreciative that there was an amendment made to the 11 o'clock mark. We all know that the sun doesn't really go down until 10 o'clock. So in my prior experience, there's a lot of running around after 10 o'clock trying to tell people they can't discharge off fireworks. So by allowing that 11 o'clock mark, once again, you guys find a nice balance between those that are for and those that are against. I thank you for your time. Any questions of me?
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Did you look at any of the larger cities to see what their ordinance was?
They're not comparable to us, so I did not.
No, thank you.
My name's Robert Faldes, 1142 Road 11, Schuyler, Nebraska. I sell fireworks in Columbus for New Year's. The way I understand the ordinance is written, it takes in effect August 1st, which affects me immediately this year. I've already purchased my fireworks for New Year's when I purchased for the 4th of July. So this, I feel like I'm being somewhat, I don't know, discriminated, not really, whatever, against, or, I don't think I'm given the same that the people selling for the 4th get. We do sell for the 4th in Schuyler, but not in Columbus. We sell only in New Year's in Columbus. So I would like to see the effective date of the ordinance at least to be moved to next year, February, whatever, after my fireworks season in Columbus, and possibly even change to 2 days instead of 3 days. Would, I think people still have the right to celebrate New Year's with fireworks. It is kind of a large culture thing in most of the world. So I guess that's my big thing, is to have it at least extended so that I'm not burdened with the extra inventory that I've already purchased. And I'm also already at a 20% increase on my insurance because it had to be bought by June 1st, and I don't want to buy insurance for Columbus, which is mandatory by your other ordinance, until I know if I can even sell. So I guess that's all I have to say. Any questions or?
Well, anyone else that would like to voice an opinion for this ordinance as it's presented? If not, we will go to those who would like to show their opposition to the ordinance as it's been presented.
Good evening, Rachel Teeley from 4230 West Raymond Road, Raymond, Nebraska. My family has resided in this city. They're still here. I am the only one that is an hour away. My family has been selling fireworks for 54 years in this community. So as a business person and a daughter, a sister, an aunt, I'm coming to you because taking away the 2 weekends.
Rachel, would you pull the microphone
Oh.
towards you, please? Thank
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh. Taking away those 2 weekends, we have
Thank you.
people, if I wasn't selling, but friends of mine that come from different states that have 0 fireworks will come the weekend before to celebrate with their families. I have memories as a child of lighting stuff off with my family, my friends, my cousins. If it was 7 days, it's 7 days. But I think everyone here knows that that's not the alternative. That's just a compromise for this year. I have 2 letters as well, one from Gina Bohr, who donates, she does photography. Fireworks helps her. She sells in Remax. She, sorry, I don't want to read it all because I don't want to use all my time. She supports church benefits, cancer benefits, Go Red for women, free senior photos for families and kids in need. I have worked for it, but it is a great income to do those things to support her own family. If they do that, she feels like she's being cut off at the knees. Did you all receive an email last night or this morning from Joe Waka?
Yes.
So when I read that, I cried. And if I cry, I'm very sorry. Because every night on July 4th, I cry driving back to my mother-in-law's, where we stay. And because I don't know about your kids, but my kid enjoys being on his phone and his PlayStation. But on July, those 10 days, every night I drive home, there's fireworks going off. Not huge ones that I see, just in the street, and I'll stop and I'll cry because that's a kid not on his phone or his PlayStation, and he's making memories with his grandparents, with his cousins. And so I'm, again, just telling you that with the sensory issues, as you all know, that Wakas are requesting the 10 days because that is how hard they have worked for their son to have those fireworks. My family that lives here, they both have worked, not for me, in the vocal tent and the Lakeview volleyball tent. As we all know as parents, activities are extremely expensive. So yes, the Columbus band said, oh, 3 less days, I have to fill my tent. Well, you don't have to open. You don't have to open, but how this has affected my family was my niece got to play volleyball for 3 years. She never had to pay for a uniform. She got to go to every camp, and it did not break her parents' bank. My brother and his daughter were able to pay for CHS vocal outfits, a trip to Nashville, and just all the other travel expenses for the CHS choir. If you take those 3 days away, that's taking time away from the families, and that they have to find income where it's already tight, as we all know. Times are tight. And then one last thing, because I'm just trying to be funny, because I'm nervous. My mother-in-law is very angry because now she loses 2 weeks. Now she just gets 10 days of her kids visiting. So, thank you.
Rachel, just one
sorry.
question. For clarification, you had said that this is now 7 days, but we all know that's just a compromise. I'm not following what you were saying.
So, in the last meeting, Mr. Jablonski stated he wanted to ban all fireworks and just have the Publix display. That I felt when he stated that was his ultimate goal. And so we feel like that is where this is headed. It's not just 7 days, it's 7 days today. So in a year, we're gonna be back here fighting the same fight. And that's why we're fighting today, is because we know 10 turns into 7 to 5 to
Well,
nothing.
I wanted that clarification because I didn't
Right.
understand for sure what you were
Yes,
saying.
that's what I,
But I would remind you that Mr. Jablonski is one of 8 that sit up
Right.
here. So
Right,
he may wish for it to snow tomorrow, but that's his wish.
right.
And we'll have to see where that goes. But that has never been part of the discussion that this council has had on
Okay, then
any of
maybe I
this.
misunderstood.
No, I mean, I understand how you might feel like that. I just
Right.
want you to understand that has not been part of the discussion.
Okay. Sorry, that's why we're just extremely concerned.
Sure.
Because we want to work with the city and we want to come up with solutions and so, but Jason can talk to you about that.
Thank you.
Since you brought me up, Rachel, this was brought to us by citizens. It wasn't my idea.
Right,
But once again, if it was, like I said, I would only go for the public displays, but that's mine.
Right.
But this is brought to us by citizens are concerned about the noise and what it does to everybody. I guess
well, to a select few, right?
a select few.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Well,
Is it everybody or is it's a
Well,
select
everybody I've
few?
talked to, so I would think that's,
You haven't heard anybody in the last week for?
I've heard people, yes.
Okay,
But mostly vendors, people that have a financial stake in it. But I'm just telling you, the people that responded to us said they don't want it.
okay.
They want a shorter period of time, and this was a compromise. And I think it's gotten blown out, and the people that have PSD, you know, a lady posted on Platte Valley Media, those people should go on vacation. Now, we're celebrating our independence, and I'm not sure everybody that shoots off fireworks believes that. So these folks were brave enough to go out and fight so we could shoot off fireworks. And someone tells them to go on vacation?
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but that's what
I-
we've caused here. That's what we've caused here. And it's unfortunate. We've tried to make a compromise here, and you've chose to fight it. That's the unfortunate part.
It's all about city government, and we're just coming to you fighting our case. We understand.
and again, I just want you to know what's been presented
Yep.
is what's been presented.
Right.
There has been no underlying ulterior motive at all.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Jason Teely, 4230 West Raymond Road, Raymond, Nebraska. Teely Fireworks, Crazy Cracker Fireworks. Yeah, we spoke last week, and it did get heated. I guess I feel we haven't been included in this conversation. You all know me. You know my father. We've sold fireworks here for years. As the language was crafted and proposed, and you know, as we spoke the first time last week, it was initially proposed to go into effect now, as soon as the vote happened. It just kind of feels like, yes, there's a couple citizens bringing it forward. I know there's many. I know we're not alone. I'm sure it's split 50-50. It's a tough issue. I don't disagree. The thing I want to focus on, and I guess I sent each of you an email last week. I don't think I heard back from any of you. Were you all able to read that?
I believe I sent thanks.
What's that?
I sent back thanks.
I don't believe I saw that. The one person I did talk to, Deb Potter, I thought we had a great conversation on Saturday. We talked about it for about an hour. We're definitely on different sides, but there's a lot of things we agree on. We need to do more education. Retailers, you know, you said it last time, Rich. Your belief is that we don't take any responsibility, that I can look up your quote, but we sell it and then just tell you to do whatever you want. That is not the case. That is not how we treat our customers. That is not how we treat the city of Columbus. We believe in respecting our neighbors. I've reached out to pitch many ideas. I don't have all the ideas. I need help. I want to solve the actual problems. Simply reducing the dates doesn't change anything. We have very little enforcement. You know, as the city code is written, we haven't given out a ticket. Why don't we be more strict on the people that are breaking law? I think multiple people last week said this is unenforceable. But then Rich says it goes on and on and on and on. How can that not be enforceable?
Well, I think the point there, and I am not a police chief, and I am not certainly a policeman, but I think the point is that when those complaints are called in, by the time the officer responds, which usually is at least a few minutes, unless they just happen to be around the block, which they probably aren't, it's done and over with. I mean, what are you going, I mean, it's done, it's over with. What are you going to, I think that's the problem, is being able to find the people doing it at the time they're doing it.
So it only lasts a couple minutes?
Well, it doesn't matter, I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that's what we're saying, though.
The complaint that's been called in, because we're saying, if it's a complaint that has gotten not, it hasn't been enforceable, it gets called in, by the time they get there, there's nothing. I mean, they can only do what they're able to do when they get to the scene of whatever the issue happens to be.
Right, so that would not be shooting all night long, on and on and on. That's not what we're talking about, because that is enforceable. Somebody out there shooting till 1 a.m, absolutely enforceable.
If they can find them, that's right.
I mean, that's, where, the people that we're talking about, why have we not enforced any of the rules? Why aren't we talking about confiscating fireworks from people who are shooting past hours? I've reached out to the police department. I've reached out to the fire department. Keep Columbus Beautiful, Deb Potter. We want to be part of the solution here. Regardless what your vote is, we know we can do better. As neighbors, as citizens of this community, we all need to do better. And sometimes that's just having a conversation with your neighbor. Sometimes that's calling the police. I don't know what it is, but we can do more. Any questions?
Go ahead.
I just have a question.
Yes.
I believe Mr. Wingler, did I say that right? He mentioned, comparability, compromise. Just a question, I understand it's catching you off guard, so I completely understand if you don't have an answer. But if you want to be part of the solution, what would you bring forth as a compromise?
I guess I'm not willing to compromise on dates. I don't know what that changes. Simply reducing dates with no enforcement only affects the people who already follow the rules.
And I feel like I'm one of the ones that follows the rules, but then I also enjoy the 11 p.m. situation, like he mentioned. I guess in that situation, kind of where do you stand? They're elongating the time for discharge.
The time is 11 currently. That isn't changing.
It's 10.
Oh, it's always been 11.
It's 11.
Well, that was 7 years ago when I brought this before. It got moved that extra hour.
Right. Yes, that is the current regulation. So, and to the gentleman who spoke about the December sales, taking away December sales, December discharge isn't going to stop the problem until we have enforcement. It's an empty threat. I want to partner with the community. I want to work with the police department. I want to work with all of you. Let's actually solve the problem, not just bring more restriction to the problem. The restriction doesn't help the law-abiding citizen. They already follow the rule. They're going to do it again. Everybody else will just continue on. They don't care. There's no punishment.
I guess I would entertain the chief to come forward and try to explain how to enforce this ordinance. And maybe you'll understand it a little better, how unenforceable it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to Columbus, and come introduce yourself again.
Well, I've been the chief since 8 o'clock this morning, so keep that in mind, okay?
Welcome.
And this is a difficult situation. I mean, I've been in cities where it's been legal. I've been in cities where it's completely illegal. So I've been sitting in the back and listening to both sides, and this is a very difficult situation because we're trying to keep the peace, but also recognize that it's the 4th of July, people want to celebrate. I completely understand both sides of the ticket here. As far as the sales are concerned, I don't have a fight in this on that. I really don't care when they're sold. That's my opinion. And he's right. You know, the people who are doing illegal things will continue to do illegal things until they're caught. I will tell you, that as far as the enforcement goes, on the 4th of July, we have what's called a CAD, and it's on our mobile computers. And when the calls for service come into dispatch, they get sent to the officers and they get prioritized for emergency response. And we not only are we dealing with fireworks, but we're dealing with domestic disturbances, traffic accidents, fights. I mean, we're not the fireworks police necessarily, right? But, and you guys know, I mean, the city of Columbus is growing and the police department is busier than ever. And most times we have anywhere from 7 to 8 officers on, and they're going from call to call to call. So, like the mayor said before, once that call comes into a service, we might not get it on our screen until 20 minutes after the fact. By the time we drive by, there's obviously nothing. Now, some things that we could do to help this situation, in my opinion, I think that if somebody is shooting fireworks outside of these limits, we need to double the fine, and I need to have people come in on overtime on a special detail, and every single person we come across are going to get a ticket. They're not going to get a warning. We're going to write everyone up, and the fine's going to be doubled, just to spread the word that this is what's been passed, and this is what we're going to enforce. Okay, so that's an option. I'm not trying to upset anybody here tonight, but I'm more than willing to do whatever it takes to keep the peace in Columbus, to allow people to have their time to celebrate, but also recognize the fact that I have my own dog, and he's a service dog, and he hates fireworks, and he's going to be hiding under my bed and shivering during the fireworks. So I have to deal with that. I don't like it. I think it's horrible that fireworks do to animals, especially the dogs. So I'm very sympathetic to that as well. So, but it's a fine line, you know. We're trying to keep the people happy, and we're also trying to keep the business people happy as well. So you all have a very tough job. Good luck with that. But I will do whatever I'm told to do, and I'm just happy to continue to enforce the safety for the citizens of Columbus. Do you have any questions for me, sir? Am I too loud, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Can they actually shoot them in the street?
No.
So if all of that trash is sitting in the street, is that enforceable?
Yeah, that's littering. We can, once again, if it's an issue, let's double the fines and find the people responsible and make them pay for it, you know? I mean, you can't do anything in the street other than operate a motor vehicle.
Okay.
So.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but.
You know, no problem. I'm happy to help.
Hey, the best way to get used to things is jump right in.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, I would like to speak if that, or did, Rachel?
Yes, hey, I'm sorry, Rachel.
Yeah. Communications Director, so I'd just like to touch on what Chief touched on regarding the calls that come in. Unfortunately, the time of year that fireworks are letting off is our busiest time of year. It's when people are having their parties. It's when we have, you're right, domestic disturbances, and they're usually working with a skeleton crew. I've worked for the city for close to 20 years as a dispatcher or a law enforcement officer. So when we get these calls and we prioritize them, and those fireworks calls are not always the first ones that go out because we have higher priority calls that we must deal with. So sometimes they do get held. So that does lend to the fact where they don't always get there on time. And by the time they do get there, there could be nothing going on any longer, so.
Well, thank you.
Question, Rachel, those are logged as a fireworks call,
Yeah,
correct?
so
regardless if anybody goes out?
Regardless, so we log them as a fireworks complaint, and then we put a location, and we dispose it out, unable to locate, verbal warning, written warning, whatever it may be. We do have a dispo that we will put no officer available to send a call. If we've been holding it for a certain amount of time, and we're not getting anybody clear, we dispo as that. And there are probably calls that have been disposed out as that.
Thank you, Rachel. Any other comments for Rachel? Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, my name is Darrell Teeling. I'm 316 Pershing Road, Columbus, Nebraska. Been a lifetime resident of Columbus, except for 4 years of my life. Been been in the firework business 46 years as a sole proprietorship with my wife and myself. Turned it over to my Jason and my other son Justin about 6 or 7 years ago. Believe it or not, I got old. I used to be younger. I think Prince can probably verify for that. He used to be in the firework business. The firework business isn't an easy business, is it? It's a hard business. It's a tough business. It's a tough business, and I'm sure that you, Mr. Prince, that you probably thought maybe 10 days was pretty long, too, at one time there, you know. But here's my concern about it, and I'm sorry that this may be from a business point of view, but I appreciate everybody's concern about the animals. I love animals. I've had animals my whole life. You know, there's things that you can do. You know, sometimes you've got to put them in places and so forth. But they've got medications that you can use and everything to help. But, you know, to stay in business, we operate different than a consignment business. And Mr. Roth, you was the same way. You ran your own business. And you bought your product. You paid your own insurance. You did your own promotion. You did your advertising. You did everything every other business has to do when they have 365 days of the year to do it. What do we get? We get 10. You know, if we goof up, let's say we mess up, we didn't buy the right product, we didn't do this right, or we didn't do this right. We don't have a chance to rebound. We just lose out. We're done. We got 10 days. And like you say there, I don't really think that we should be penalized just because there's people that do things illegally. Like the fire chief said, let's penalize these people. Mr. Roth, you always follow the rules. You and me, I would say we was always competitive friends. We worked together on things there, you know, and we've always tried to serve the community good. When I started in 1971, that's a lot of years ago. Some of you guys weren't even born then yet, I don't think. I started out a firework business with 2 partners, and there was 3 of us. And I worked at Boulevard Lanes, a couple of people that worked with me. And bowling was slow back in those days in the summer. So, hey, what can we do to maybe make some income? So anyway, us 3, we decided we'd put in a fireworks stand. They weren't very big fireworks stands. They were just small stands. And we didn't hire no help. We did it all of ourselves. We didn't take our vacation. We sold fireworks. So anyway, we did that for 10 days. And out of those 10 days, my buddies, Randy and Rich and me, we made $500. What a big deal that was. So after 1 year, my 2 buddies said, hey, I ain't going to do this anymore. It's too much work. I'm giving up my vacation time. I'm doing all this. I said, we're not going to do that anymore. And I said, well, okay, guys, I'll tell you what, I'll be fair with you. I think maybe there's potential in the firework business. I think maybe we can build it up. I love business. I think that, you know, I've done okay in my life, but, you know, when I was younger, just like we all were younger, we all had to try to make a living, and there was extra money that we could use to help support my family, maybe take a vacation extra time, and it was something there that was really good. And so anyway, I decided, I said, I'll tell you what, you guys don't want to be in it. We made $500 each. I'll pay you $500 each, and I'll buy you out. And so I bought them out. They were happy with that there. And, you know, I continued to do the business. We did well. Columbus liked us. The people loved us. You know, the kids loved us. I got people come to this today. You know, I don't work the stand that much anymore. Jason makes me come out for an hour, an hour for the 10 days for his anniversary celebration. But anyway, you know, I have people, you know, they tell me how much fun and generation after generation of these kids that have come and how much they enjoyed the fireworks for those days, you know, and, you know, they were so happy to be able to have family firework displays. You know, I appreciate your thing about display on for just the city. But, you know, really, there's something kind of neat when you can have your kids and you can teach them about fireworks, teach them about safety, teach them all the things which we all do. And if you ever noticed on our firework packaging, it's changed over the years. Shoot, there's like 10 rules listed on that firework packages there, you know. And if people would follow the rules, we'd all be in good shape, you know? So I don't really know why 10 days is such a big deal. I mean, I guess somebody just arbitrarily picked out 10 days. You know, it's been 10 days in Columbus for 54 years. The state of Nebraska, it's been, I don't know how many years, because it's been 10 years longer than I've been in the business. And apparently the state of Nebraska thinks it's okay, I guess. The cities, of course, we don't compare to Omaha. Omaha's got their own problems. They've got other things to worry about. With Omaha, you know, they probably got one fireworks stand probably for 20,000 people. Here in Columbus, we got, am I over 5 minutes?
Yeah, we're getting to the time.
Dang. You mean I'm not fun enough to listen to you a little bit longer? Anybody else want to talk? Can I talk a little longer? Okay, I won't want to talk any longer, but I just want to say that, just to finish up here, you know, man, if you guys cut this down to 7 days, if we have 2 days of rain, which happens, we'll have like 5 days. We've got a lot of money invested in this stuff here, and we're just trying to make an honest dollar. Some people do it to fundraise, and I donate to a lot of causes, let me tell you, and I do it because I make so many in fireworks and so forth. But, you know, like I say, you people that are in business got 365 days to make a living. I got 10 days, and I better do everything right, or I've lost a lot of money. But anyway, I appreciate you guys listening to me. I've enjoyed my firework business in Columbus. 54 years is a long time. I used to be your guys' age. Maybe not Ron. Ron, you're probably a little older than I am. You know. But I'm going to get there, I hope. Yeah, you got me beat by a little bit. But anyway, fireworks is a great family tradition. Let's keep it going. Let's see if we can, the police chief, can we do like he says? You know, if you put a big enough fine on that, you know, people will get the message. Maybe you're not going to catch everybody, but if you catch a few people are going to say, whoa, I don't think maybe we better do this. We get a $250 fine, and we get a, you know, whatever fine you think is appropriate, you know.
Okay.
It'll probably catch on pretty quick. Okay, I'm sorry I went
Appreciate
over
it.
my time.
Any comments for Daryl before he walks away? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, and appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Hi, Kimberly Hengler, 765 9th Avenue. I had zero plans on talking tonight, so I'm winging this like you've never seen before. I do not like fireworks. I don't buy them. I have 2 dogs that are terrified of them, so we hide in the basement and take gummies, even my dogs and me. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel like, you know, these people, like Daryl said, it's 10 days. And if it rains 2 days, it's done. And I want to speak on behalf of the other part. I have a daughter that has worked for them for 5-6 years, and it's income for her in the summer when she's going to college, when she's going to school. So I don't want to echo everything that everybody said, but I do want to bring up 2 things. I think the new chief, welcome. I think cracking down is a good idea. I wonder if there's an opportunity to not have them let off in residential areas past a certain time. That would push them outside of city limits. The other thing I was thinking was, you know, you're talking about your 1% tax revenue coming in, this 1% tax. Think of the money that these fireworks are bringing for that 1% tax. I think that's important too. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Any questions for Kimberly? Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Kathy Sanders, and I am co-owner of Fly By Night Fireworks. I am here to represent our business and to let you know a little bit of background, which we've heard from several people here, and I wasn't here last week. What's that? Oh, 84675 560th Avenue, Hoskins, Nebraska. Sorry, I don't live here, but a couple things I would like to point out is that it is 10 days currently, but once you think about it, 10 days is not realistic in July in Nebraska. We have tornadoes and storms. And currently, as you can see, we are going to have a storm in about an hour. And that's what happens when we put tents up and containers up. We definitely don't have 10 days of sales. We have more like 7 or 5 because of the weather. Burn bans, rain, weather, wind. It could be a number of things. So I just want to point that out to you all up here. Also, Mr. Over here, sir, I forgot his name, but he also has told us about the financial status that he has, or that we all have in this business. We have to purchase our items a year in advance to get them. So we have to forfeit a lot of money, pay out on interest, on loans, to get our product here in time to sell. And that doesn't include the tariffs and everything else that we have to pay or cover for the product to get here. But I do want you to all know that you all do have a financial responsibility in this. And that is coming from the taxes that you will lose if you decide to make it shorter days, cutting it down to 7, because you will lose that income from your tax revenue. You will also have people going to other towns and communities missing out of the sales here in your town. It also brings in people buying gas, food, clothing, all kinds of things that we do bring in to the community. We also do support businesses. We do team baseball sponsorships, Relay for Life sponsorships, soccer, basketball, golf, bowling. So there's lots of things that we do support and help around in the communities in the Northeast Nebraska area.
How many days are you allowed to shoot in Hoskins?
Hoskins, I live out in the country, so actually it's a small community, so it's the 10 days.
It is?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Kathy, you had made a comment about the time and how we might be taking away the gentleman, because you buy your inventory beforehand, and the gentleman that was talking about Christmas or New Year's. I hope you saw that the first thing that was done at the meeting 2 weeks ago when this just started having a conversation was it was not put into effect for this year. It would have been put into effect for next year because of what you just said.
Okay.
It was pointed out by suppliers to council members that was a very important thing. That immediately became evident to the council, that nothing would be in effect for this year. Now, the gentleman has brought up December. Maybe that's something the council wants to take into effect before something is, before this becomes official the way it's written now. I mean, I'm just saying, I just wanted you to be clear that your concern was very valid, and it was heard. And that was one of the very first things that was adjusted on some of the conversations that were up here.
Okay.
That I just wanted to make sure you are aware of that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
And the mayor mentioned last time that we will look at this again, and if our revenues are down, I guess we'll have to come back to you and say, gosh, we screwed up.
So you're voting, just to make this clear, you want to possibly vote to lessen our days, but if your revenue goes down, you will give us our days back?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
But is that what you just said?
We're going to look at it.
Okay.
The mayor said we'll look at it.
Okay.
So if it really puts a burden on us, we'll take a look at it. But once again, an opinion, my opinion, I don't think your sales are going to get hurt.
My opinion is you're wrong.
Okay, well, then
You're very wrong.
we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Because cutting it down 3 days, that's a lot of revenue
Sure.
for how many stands, I don't know for sure you have in this town.
Sure.
But you take 3 days from, say, 10 people, that's quite a bit of money. I don't know exactly what your town brings in for revenue on the fireworks, or for gas or food or any other types of revenue that it may bring in. But, like I said, we're all here to help each other. We're small businesses, and that's what this world is made of, small businesses. So we all want to help out each other, and if we need to help out the police department, we will surely do that. I agree. Doubling fines, tripling fines is fine with me to make people straighten up.
All right, any other questions for Kathy? All right, thank you. Thank you.
Sarah Abler, 1000 Woodcrest Street, Norfolk, Nebraska, and I'm also one of the partners of Fly By Night. A lot of my comments 2 weeks ago were during the pre-meeting, I forget, common meeting, whatever it was. Somebody needs to unlock their iPhone, I guess. So I'm just going to reiterate some things so they're in the record for this, because I know we don't have public comment on the third reading. In terms of animals, Kathy and Eric have animals. We have animals. We also have some livestock. I live in town. I feel so bad for the animals, and we put ours in the basement with the TV on loud, and I do feel for them. And I've been a volunteer, an active volunteer of the Norfolk Animal Shelter, or the Animal Shelter of Northeast Nebraska, for 17 years. I was on the board for 6 years. I was very instrumental in getting our shelter up and going. So trust me, I have a heart for animals. I also have a heart for veterans. All of our dads served in the military. Kathy and Eric's son just got out of the Air Force, or Navy, sorry. And I've had family members of every generation serve in the armed forces since World War I. So, and we've done shows for the Veterans Home. We've done them for nursing homes and assisted living homes. We were also, I don't know if you've heard of the Christian Cross Festival in Norfolk. It draws thousands of people. That firework that looks like Christ on the cross was actually a damaged firework that we were like, let's shoot it up anyway, and it looked like a crucifix, and that started the Christian Cross Festival, and we've been involved with that for however many years that's been going on, like 15 or more years. We're the major sponsor of that. I know people talk about shift work and they're trying to sleep during the day or they have to get up early. My husband and Eric and Kathy have all done shift work days and nights in the same week for over 25 years, and Eric's still doing it, going on 40 years. So we understand that. I'd like to say that you have 10 days of selling. There are several days that are very slow, which we're during the week, which we're kind of appreciative of because we can restock, work out the kinks, move merchandise around. And so we have 10 days. And next year, we'll have 2 weekends, which will be a great year for us because we struggled during the years when we have like a Wednesday 4th. And so I'd really like to keep the 10 days going because of there's a dry band, high winds, rain. There's so many things. A lot of times we don't get 10 days. And if you decrease your days, those people in a lot of communities, surrounding communities that have 10 days, they're going to go to Norfolk and buy their fireworks and do them. So you're pushing revenue out. And getting back to the vets, I know people have PTSD, and I feel for them, but I think they're probably the minority of the veterans. Eric's dad, I mentioned before, had 3 Purple Hearts and I think a Silver Star. He had PTSD, but he loved his fireworks, and that's how Eric got into them. And most veterans are like, hell yeah, I fought for our freedoms, and they're some of our largest customers. Let's see. And would you consider adding days? This is a question. Would you consider adding days to this selling period?
Well,
if a couple people came forward and said, we want to sell for 14 days, would you guys consider that?
I can't speak for the council, so that would just be an item that.
State mandate.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
You're
because
right.
when I
Okay.
was a kid, my dad was part of running the stand for Knights of Columbus, and it used to be 14 days, 2 weeks. And so I'm just concerned, and I know you've said this is just for now, but when was the last time your taxes went down? When was the last time your insurance went down? Usually, when you take away something, it's rarely ever given back. And so that's why I'd like to keep it at 10 days. And a reminder, there were 2 Norfolk Daily News polls. I'm sorry, I've been busy with funerals the last couple weeks, so I didn't get the other one, but only 10% of the people wanted it 1 day, 24% wanted 3 days, 20% wanted 7 days, and the majority of people, 39%, wanted to keep it at 10 days. And both of those polls were reflective of those numbers. So.
Excuse me, I do have a question on that poll. What were the numbers again?
Okay, I'll go from the top. 1 day was 10.8. 3 days was 24.2. 7 days was 20.6, and 10 days was 39.
So 61% of people wanted a change, just couldn't agree on the change?
No, it was like, how many days do you think fireworks should be allowed?
Okay.
I believe was the question. And 39% wanted to keep it at 10 days.
Yeah, correct.
And the poll that was done, I think 2 years prior to that, the numbers were very similar. And I think it just comes down to respect. You know, talk to your neighbors. If you're having a show, just say, just so you know, we're having something Saturday night. If you want to come over, or I know you have a dog that hates it, just, we're going to be starting our party. You know, let's have some just respect for one another and some communication. That goes a long ways.
Okay. Sarah, you want to wrap it up then, please?
Yep. I just want to say next year, I want to keep it at 10 days because we have 2 weekends and it's the 250th birthday of the United States of America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brent, did you have a comment or?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment
You want to wait
on your
and see?
statistics.
Yeah.
I thought kind of interesting, 10% give or take for 1 day, 24% for 7 or 5 days or 3 days, and 21% for 7 days. That's about 55% for less than 10 days.
But if it was a vote and it went up for vote, it would win because 10 days had 39%.
Well, you had 4 choices. If
Yeah.
you had a choice of 7 days or 10 days, what do you think's going to win?
Do you know how many votes they had?
I don't know. But I would also like to say, you know, sometimes, not just here, but in general, we always write laws or ordinances for the minority or the exception and not the majority. So I don't know if I should get into.
No.
No, okay. But I'm just saying, a lot of times, you're trying to satisfy the minority, and so then everybody has to go with that.
All right. Do we have any other comments that would be different than what we've been hearing? Anyone else want to add? Again, we're open to anyone's comments, but are you wanting to yes, please do, please.
I apologize. My name is Karina, address 5900 Northwest Radio Highway, Omaha, Nebraska.
Karina, what?
I'm sorry?
Karina who?
Garcia.
Okay, thank you.
My family lives here in Columbus. I used to live here too. I moved away a couple years ago. I just want to apologize because if I would have known that I could speak here, I would have come a little bit more prepared. I have no monetary gain, come here and speaking. I just wanted to say that with the changing of the sales dates with our family, excuse me.
Relax.
Yeah.
You're good. You're fine. You're fine.
With our family, with the sale dates being 10 days now, it gives our family that come out of state time to prepare. It is summer, so a lot of the kids are out of school. It feels like it would be harder to have our family come and visit, and it's just a tradition, for everybody come for the 4th of July. And it feels like if the sales dates were to move from 10 days to 7 days, it would be harder to prepare and, compromise and whatnot. And I do want to say it, I do see everybody's point of view. I mean, I have a grandpa who is a veteran. Currently, my cousin and my best friend are in the military as well. And I am a dog mom, so, he is terrified of fireworks. Like people were saying, you do what you can. I don't think that 3 days is going to change my dog's life. He has 355 other days to be happy and spend his life, doing fun dog things with me. So I just wanted to state that because I feel like everything that you guys have heard so far has been just, people who have businesses and selling fireworks and whatnot. And if I would have known that people can come and speak and whatnot, I would have brought a whole bunch of family and friends that would probably say the same thing. If anything, just in regards to the sale dates, it would be harder to continue that tradition and, celebrate the United States of America. So
Appreciate it.
that's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, I will. All right, anyone else want to come before us and give their opinion this evening? If not, we will close off comments. As we had mentioned, this is the second reading, and it was stated incorrectly. At the third reading, we can allow for public comments as long as we publish, because of the Open Meeting Act. We will have to notice in our agenda that there can be public comments, and without question, this is a hot button item. We've got a great crowd here that handled themselves very well this evening, and we will do this again on the 16th for any and all of you that want to come. And in the meantime, we encourage everyone to contact their council members. And, those of you that don't like me, and I know there's a few of you that don't, recognize I don't have any skin in this game unless you get these 4 to tie, okay? I mean, I have no vote here. I am trying to run the meeting and keep things moving forward and engage in the discussion to let people know what can happen. So, yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that point of clarification, because I think in Norfolk, there is no public comment before the third reading.
Well, I have to be honest with you. If anybody thought that I wasn't paying attention, I was actually asking my city attorney, because that comment was made and I did not know the answer to it.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right. Any other comments this evening?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for speaking. As it stands now, after, I believe in August, the way it's read, this would take effect. With regards to the gentleman that spoke about December, and our comments about enforcement, I would entertain a motion to have our sales go through December and include it, and give the vendors an opportunity to police their their customers, and give the opportunity to the police department to enforce the law. And we bring this back to the table after the first of the year in January, and maybe make a decision at that point. That's my personal opinion, and I would like to maybe make that in a motion if there'd be a second.
Well, let me ask so I can clarify. In reality, you're saying take it away because we just bring it back in January and do it all over again?
Well, yeah, basically give the opportunity to everybody says they want to help make a difference. So here's our opportunity to give them a chance to make a difference. If we double our fines, whatever we come up with for that, from the force side of it, but it also gives the vendors a stake to make a difference.
What I'm asking, and maybe Neil, you can clarify this, what I'm asking is it better to amend the ordinance as presented, or just let the ordinance die its own death because of what you want to do? That's all I'm asking.
Okay. Well, so to answer your question, I had asked Sharia earlier this afternoon about whether we would want to let it die, or basically would it be better to maybe change this and then bring it forward at the third reading so we're not bringing it back again. But I guess whatever would be the the better of the group, but I guess I am saying to change it to the end of,
Right.
let it go through the end of the year, and in January, come back and see if we've made a difference. At that point, then we can maybe move forward with 10 days or 8 days.
I've got a quick question. Did we have any fireworks vendors selling actively in Columbus during December last year?
Well, I believe Mr. Faltus did. That's why he came to talk to us. Is that?
In Columbus?
Yeah, he's from Schuyler, but he had a Columbus stand.
Okay,
for
I thought
December.
we had no stands
Well,
in Columbus.
at the last council meeting, no one here that were vendors did anything in December or said they didn't care to do anything. I paraphrase, but the feeling after last meeting.
Where was your stand last year?
Okay. He said the clock tower, because
Okay.
you can't be heard, I'm just repeating for you. Okay?
Thank you.
I had a question regarding an ordinance, and I'm new to this, so excuse me if I'm out of line in asking this, but this is brought forward by citizens of Columbus. I've received numerous phone calls, emails. It's split 50-50. Do we have the option to table this or let it die off and present it at the primary next year? And let this be a vote by the citizens of Columbus?
I would second that.
That's a lot of questions.
That's why you get paid the
Yeah.
big bucks, to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, so your first option is, and I'll tail into what Troy's comments too. You have the option to changing the effective date. I think you could make a motion here to do that, and then go to your third reading. You also always have the option of waiving your third reading if you guys think you can have the mandatory supermajority to do that. As to whether it dies, if you go to the third reading or you proceeded with that today after a supermajority vote, and it died, that would just be what would happen. It wouldn't be moving forward. If you wanted to pull it or table it, there would need to be a motion to do so, to take it or to continue it, and that would also need a second. If the feeling is to take that to a vote, I think you can certainly do that. There's a whole process that would have to follow, and I'm not going to outline that right now, but you could certainly look at doing that. That is not going to be in effect for this year and potentially even in December, for how long that takes, and there's a cost to do that with the election commissioner. So I don't know if that answers.
Is the next
questions.
election in November of '26?
May of 26.
That would be, is it May of '26 would be a primary? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So May of '26, okay.
Well, then we run into the same problem. They tell us they have to have their orders in a year in advance.
Yeah.
They won't, I mean, we're kind of running in a circle here, but I'm listening, but, you know, I think ultimately it's the people that will make the final decision, and I think we need to put it in their hands. And I think Councilman Polinsky makes a very good point, and I think I've told somebody that would be the next process, but like I say, well, it's always going to be, I got to order in advance, and it's not going to work, and it's not going to do this, and it's not going to do that, so.
Well, regarding that part of it, it could be how you would word, you could word word the ballot question to go into effect like after the next one. So however the results of that election are, you would have time to clean up your inventory. I mean, because I agree. I mean, we certainly don't want to impede somebody's inventory in this situation. That is not the intent that this has been. Well, what's the mood of the council? You've got 2 or 3 things thrown up here. Mr. Hemer, do you still want to go forth with yours? Do you want to tweak it? You want to I mean, what, after listening to our city attorney?
I would say that if there is no motion, it would just go forward to the third reading next.
And make a decision then?
So.
That's fine. If I guess the reason I brought it up, nothing changes at this point other than December. And it gives everybody the opportunity to help police and make a difference. And if that doesn't happen, then we're right back where we're at today, and we move forward with going to 7 days. If that would be the good of the group.
But I'm trying to, okay, so we could either, what you're saying is basically leave it alone. And then what Mr. Polinsky, what AJ is saying is we leave it alone and then work to get it to the people. Is that really I mean, they're two separate ideas, but is that what I'm hearing the council? I'm trying, help me here, please. I'm trying to come together with something.
Well, excuse me. I've had numerous calls, text, emails, everything you can do I've gotten. And I've read them all, and they've all been very good. And honestly, the ones that don't want it are about 50%, and the other ones are 50% that do. So it's good. You're the ones that it's going to be affecting. So, because I don't light fireworks anymore. Last time I did, I got them from Daryl. And that's been a long time ago already. But I've got no problems with going to it. Leave it as it is now and go to a vote.
Mr. Roth, any comments?
Let's get this decision made and move on. Very frankly, the December fireworks sales is minuscule in the overall scheme of things. The
But
shoot 'em ups.
not according to the vendor. Don't tell him it's minuscule. Because these people have been telling me it's not minuscule.
I know what inventory is like. It's minuscule. Honest to golly, it's minuscule. I would like to proceed, get this thing taken care of, and get it done. I think the 7 days is a reasonable compromise. I have studied my statistics when I was in the business. First day of sales, pretty good. Nice puff on the first day. Second, third, fourth days, oh, shoot, you were sitting on your hands in the stand. Depends on what day, what weekends comes in. Finally, thank goodness, days 9 and 10, or the next to last day and the last day come. That's when the sales are. And what we're talking about doing, very frankly, here is cutting out those 3 days in the middle. First day is still going to be there. Last days are still going to be there. I like 7 days, very frankly.
Well, we can leave as is, and we can leave as is. We have a third reading. I will allow you to make just a brief comment, because we're wrapping up this at this point.
Yes. Do you need my name?
No.
I want to thank Troy for taking that stand. Everything I've said since the beginning is let's solve the actual problem. Continuing to reduce days does not solve the problem. Allow us, you've told us, we're not doing enough. We're doing a lot. It's not enough. Allow us to do more. Allow us to educate. Allow the community to come together to solve this problem. That's it.
What I would ask, Troy, would you like to amend what is currently there to allow December sales so that come the third reading, those are included in it, and come the third reading, discussions we'll have would be that part of it if we wanted to move forward that way, or just leave it totally alone. I'm just trying to understand the will of the council.
Yes, I would like to make that move forward in that motion. However, it obviously needs seconded and we need
That's right.
in the votes. But
So we have them,
that way it can either die in the third or proceed that way,
What effective date do you want?
at the end of the year. And we would,
Jan-
our first meeting in January.
well, no, for December blowing off, is it the 28th,
Oh.
9th, and 3rd, or the 20? What are the?
Yeah, so the fireworks sales
from what to what?
Well,
Yeah.
whatever they are currently.
Okay,
Okay.
so you want to make an effective date of January 1st, 2026? Second.
I'd go to the second.
Second, yeah.
Go to the second.
Okay.
Okay.
But I would, maybe before you change that, make sure we have a second.
Yeah. So we have a motion and a second to bring back the December fireworks sales and times. And so nothing we would then talk about next meeting would, and would pass if it stayed, like we're talking, would go into effect after New Year's on January 2nd. So what's on the books right now, what everybody's used to, would be exactly what we have until January 2nd. Then a discussion moves forward from there.
So Troy, can I just have you repeat the motion?
Sure. I would move that we leave the ordinance as is, but to add December sales back in there.
I think she just wants you to read the recommended motion.
Oh,
It's just moving the effective date.
right, just
Yeah.
moving the
Of
effective.
Of the current one.
And the effective date at this point is the 1st of August.
Right.
Right,
And we talking about moving the first, moving that to
To the
the
end-
2nd of January next year.
Yes.
right.
And that,
And then we would come back and reevaluate, see what we were able to do to maybe
Hold on.
mitigate any issues. So,
Hold on a second. If you're making that motion to change the effective date, and you guys vote on this ordinance, it goes into effect as of January 2nd. So there will be no coming back. It'll be in effect. So I think you need to clarify whether you're wanting this to be taken away or whether you're wanting this
I
to
think what
be.
you really want to do is let it die.
Okay, we essentially have to let it die.
Go
Okay.
back to
That is
what-
not, I don't think you're making the motion what you're wanting to do, so.
okay.
So right now, leave things as is to the third reading, and then we make our decision on either let it die or move forward.
Okay, I guess I misunderstood the question
I mean, that's
today
a
when
valid
asked.
point. I
Okay,
understand. Comment?
well, I want to throw another wrench into the program. And that is, due to the fact that we do have 2 weekends coming in 26, all right? And I would like to maybe take a look at maybe changing the date to the 27th, to year 27 instead of 26. That way it gives the operators an opportunity to have the big weekend, which I understand is pretty substantial. So anyway, that's a comment. I don't know whether you have any support for that up here.
No, that was kind of my point towards moving it to the primary in May and moving the effective date not till January 1st, 2nd, 27, to allow for that bigger 250 celebration, but still give the people of Columbus the voice to vote on how they really want this handled.
Okay. Any other comments this evening? That being said, we'll come back and revisit this on the third reading at our June 16th council meeting. Somebody bring the popcorn and the pop, and we'll just, with that, meeting adjourned.